What about, Antoinette, what about Susan?
She said she'll try and make it.
Oh, so we're expecting Susan Petto too?
Yes, I thought I just heard you.
So you said something, and this is not about like from upstate or from Sunday or James Cooper. Like I said, it made the Warwick Valley this bad.
That's right.
Talk about the worst county IDA.
Morning, Susan. Yeah, with it was all that, hung up about the monitor, the guy came up and said, everything's fine.
Yeah,
Did you hear about this? This guy, put in a special monitor on the IDA board. That can cancel meetings, singularly veto any item before the IDA.
well, and the problem is they had an issue with the IDA. People went to jail, like, you know, and that was a whole new board, and they still made a monitor.
All right. Once it's 8:30, we'll call the meeting to order. The first thing I do is ask for a motion to appoint a temporary chair in the absence of our chair, Jeff Stone.
So moved.
Mark's motion, a second.
Second.
Okay, I guess I'd ask to appoint myself. So, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, that being said, thanks for the appointment. Welcome, it's the October meeting. The first thing we'll do is a roll call. I'll read the roll. I guess Jeff Stone is excused. Helen Alexander is present. Diana Ostroff, present. Alan Michaels is here. Marcus Fryer is here. Dan Scaring. Susan Petto is present. Caitlin O'Brien. And Lucas is currently on his way. Okay, it appears we have a quorum. So the first thing I do is ask for approval of the minutes of the board meeting of July 18. The minutes were sent out to you. Does anybody have any corrections, additions, deletions? Hearing none, I entertain a motion to approve the minutes. Marcus moved. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, committee reports. Some guy named Al Michaels is gonna do a bunch of finance stuff, but I think he's gonna designate that to somebody who does a real good job with it. The September 2024 financial statements.
Okay. Just go over the balance sheet and P&L year-to-date September. So our cash is strong at 9.4 million. Loans receivable balance is 10.7 million. All loans are paid to date. And our net position is $244,000. I'll move on to the budget versus actuals. Revenue year-to-date is $535,000 compared to a budget of $471,000. Total operating expenses, actuals $290,000 compared to a budget of $450,000 due to shovel-ready site fees have come in under budget. We haven't spent as much as we anticipated. So our change in that position, actual is $244,000 compared to a budget of $21,000.
I think it's important to note the investment interest, what you're doing with the treasuries and everything. It's just wonderful.
I was actually going to ask the board's blessing, being that we have a lot of cash in our money market, if it was possible to maybe put another 2.5 million in a treasury bill. I have the rates, the 3-month rate is at 4.52. The rates are higher for treasury than they are CDs.
Yeah, no, I think it's great.
Why not?
It's amazing.
Yeah.
The short-term T-bills have higher rates than the long-term.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
a lot of.
The 1 month is the
2 years
best, but
still,
then I
2 year
have to-
treasury is still way high.
The what?
2 year.
Is it?
Yeah, yeah. But I think, what is it, drops off when you go out, what, to
Well, it looks like it drops off at 9
what?
months to 4%.
9 months?
Yeah, for the treasury. And how much is it?
How much are we putting into it?
I'm gonna put another 2.5 million in there. We have
Great,
a
thank you.
little over 5 in there now, which has been doing very well.
But you still have what, liquid, a couple million liquid or?
Yeah, it'd be about 2 million liquid.
Okay, just.
I know.
Can we put in the minutes up to 2.5 million, because we may have a $1 million loan that closes this year that hasn't come to the.
Right, but we'll still have 2 million liquid.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we bring in money every month from the loan payments, so I think we'll be okay.
It's only 3 months, right?
Yeah.
Do we need a motion to do that, or just making us aware?
Just making you aware.
Yeah, I think it's great. Sure. Okay, and then we've got are there any other questions or comments on the September 2024 financials?
Just one question on the bad debt expense. You had a loan that was, I think it was 25,000. We charged that off already?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
So that's not included in that number anymore?
That was Dr. Jeffrey
Ryan.
Ryan.
Right.
It was
Yep.
just around 20,000, just over 20,000. That is not included in that number, and that's a number that the auditors, through their formula.
Sure.
yes, just as a reserve.
Yeah, it's a reserve, just.
Okay.
And before you move on, you want to just briefly mention the kind of strange developments in the auditing community locally?
Yes, Al probably has heard maybe that Teal Becker has decided to get rid of their governmental
Yeah,
clients due to staffing
Yeah.
issues.
yeah,
So,
it's,
doesn't affect us for the ACBDC, because
Yeah.
we still have Bonadio, but
no, it's just,
They dropped us, they dropped the city of Walden.
they just dropped us like a week or two ago, so
Yeah.
it didn't give us much notice to find someone before January 1st.
have you put out RFPs or?
I have a meeting today with Bonadio.
I would check with them, Cusack and Company, Johnny Criscone.
Who is this now?
Cusack, we were up in the airport.
Do they do
They
government?
do governmental, and then John Criscone. They had the guy, I forget what his the partner's name. He was really the guru, like, he's still there, he's kind of semi-retired, but they.
I was talking to Mark Holzman, who just retired from
KPMG.
Principal Warehouse.
KPMG.
KPMG. And he's also the chairman of some advisory board up at the university's accounting program. And he was telling me how the decline in just the number of students going to college is a challenge. But even as a percentage of them going into accounting has dropped precipitously.
It's horrible. They represent the big four accounting firms. It's
Yeah.
horrible.
And it's, it's a huge issue in the industry. Because I think they all do this 5-year program now, right?
Yeah.
They're actually looking at something different, and that's sometimes is the last one to adopt it, but they're looking at allowing the kids to be able to make money while they're in school and have kind of work along with an accountant. So they're exploring things at a national level,
Yeah.
and it looks like it's starting to take traction in some states, so.
There's a little bit of a rebound. I teach at UAlbany and it's a required accounting class. 8 years ago, I had well over 200 students in the class. 4 years ago, down around 120, now we're back up around 140, 150. So a little bit better than it was, but the
They're working
projections
in
are
communities,
dismal.
because you also want a diverse workforce as well, so they're working in communities as young kids, trying to get them to CSI type programming, like get them interested in
Well,
numbers.
the thing that, the demographics aren't expected to shift until about 2035, which is quite a ways out. And, the other thing, career path wise, there are a lot of alternatives for kids other than to go to college. Plug Power is hiring kids at $65,000, $70,000 a year with a high school diploma. Benefits, health insurance, 401k. And they're struggling to hire.
Okay, anything else on the September 2024 financials? We've got our obligation for the 2025 budget.
Yes.
Good friend of ours.
Okay, so the Paris, this is due October 31st in Paris. Not much change from last year. Our charges for services, which would be the application fees for any loans closing, is budgeted at $3,500. Rentals and financing income, so that's loan interest, is at $350,000. Investment earnings, we'll hope to get $350,000 as well. So our total revenue budgeted is $703,000. Operating expenditures, $385,000. That includes the reimbursement to the Alliance as well as the shovel-ready. Oh, no, I'm sorry, shovel-ready's down below. So $385,000 is the reimbursement to the Alliance. $25,000 is just a plug number for loan loss reserves. And then $327,000 for the Altex steel site, which is part of that $1 million that ACBDC has pledged. So we're looking at a net loss of $33,000 next year.
Anybody have any questions on the proposed 2025 budget? You'll see, we also have to blow out for the next couple of years, which it's a one-size-fits-all thing that the ABO requires. You know, we don't levy a tax based on what we do, but we'll have that data in there just to be compliant. If anybody knows what's gonna happen in 2028, please let me know, because
Same.
I'm not sure about what's gonna happen tomorrow. Do we need a motion to approve the budget, I assume, so we can post it? I'd entertain a motion to approve the proposed 2025 budget.
Move.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second. Motion second, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? So we'll put that up by the 31st and be ready for another year.
Yes.
And then the most important, the Q3 agency voucher.
So we have two vouchers today. One is for the Alliance reimbursement. The voucher for the third quarter was $82,335, which is comprised of salaries, professional fees, other business operating expenses, less the rental income that we received from the land bank. And the second one is the shovel-ready site reimbursement, which is only $5,785, comprising of legal and professional fees to Tom Owens and Young.
I'd entertain a motion to approve the payment of the 2024 third quarter agency voucher in the amount of $82,335.63. The motion is there a second? Mark is second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And then I'd entertain a motion to pay the third quarter shovel ready request for $5,785. The motion is there a second?
Second.
Second, okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, great. Amy, you got a CFO report?
I have nothing else to report.
Okay.
You know, one of the things that I'd like to suggest, Mr. Chairman, is that maybe we have a staff person who's lead on the Altex steel site, which is where most of the expenses go. Have been given update on, you know, the progress at the Altex steel site, you know, which you've been supporting through the shovel ready program. We're going to be starting to spend some money there. The National Grid Energy Assessment,
That was paid this week.
we're gonna have to pay that out
Yep.
soon.
That was paid this week.
It's paid this week,
Yeah.
which is about 30,000. Yeah. So it might just be a good idea, since
Oh, yeah.
you're paying for it. Because,
Yeah,
you know,
no, there's a lot of interest in that site.
Yes, there is, yes,
If we get it back online, it'll be
Yeah.
kind of full circle
right, isn't it, you're right?
from what was it, the late 70s when this whole thing started, so. That'd be a great idea.
Then just make a note of that next meeting.
Okay, other business, pavement technology renewal.
Good morning, everybody. Pavement Technologies International, located on Western Avenue, just above Stuyvesant Plaza in that little strip mall there. We helped them purchase the building 10 years ago. There's 5 years remaining. They got started, one was a civil engineer, one was in the paving business. They realized, like, wait a second, there's this huge market for used equipment, and started trading in used paving equipment. It's grown. They're now actually making their own products with their own brand, Pavement Tech. And just looking for another 5-year loan. Their current balance is just over 60,000. Rate would be 4%, 6 months, 60 months, fully amortizing. A nice little company. What I'd love to do is see if there's some manufacturers and job shops that could take care of some of the products that they make elsewhere around the country. But a really nice company, doing very well financially, no issues. The building is fully leased up. There's some other spaces in there that they've been able to rent. So strong company, just looking to renew for another 5 years.
Any questions on the renewal request? If not, I'd entertain a motion to approve renewal.
So I'll move it.
Now, do you have a second? Second, we have a motion to second, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay.
Thank you all. The next agenda item is 219 Warehouse Grill. We've spoken about them a number of times. They have, it's the restaurant at the top of Wolf Road. They have a sublease, and the sublease will provide monthly income between what they're paying and what they're receiving. They have come to the decision that they want to sell their other restaurant, Mezzanotte, in Gilboa. They, hard decision, but we have them as a guarantor. When NYBDC and Pursuit did the loan, they took a mortgage on that property. We didn't do that, we just took a corporate guarantee. They now are under contract to sell that property. The terms are a large down payment, which is going to Pursuit, plus for a 4-year note. At the end of 4 years, the full balance is to be paid. They do get a progress payment after 6 months of $25,000. So they are asking for us to release the guarantor of that restaurant. To do that, since Pursuit is getting paid for part of theirs, we don't have the same collateral as them. I'm recommending to the board that at the time of the close and the release, assuming that it all goes through, we take $20,000 immediately. That would get the loan down to just about $60,000. And then at the 6-month mark, when they get that $25,000 check, we request another $5,000. And then we re-amortize the note for the remaining term to lower that payment and increase the spread between what their monthly payment is and what they're receiving from the new tenant.
And Kevin, there are Mexican restaurants going in there?
Yeah, Jose Cantina, or Jose Tequila Cantina, something like that. I did some research on them, 12 restaurants out in Western New York, appears to be very successful. This is their first on the eastern part of the state. So they seem to be legitimate. Spoke with the broker that was part of the transaction. He was impressed by them. Of course, they were right, but had nothing but good things to say. So, we're taking a flyer, but they have done everything they have been supposed to do through this trying time. They have not skipped a beat. My impression, which I would share with the board, is they're the type of people that you kind of want to help. They're not looking for handouts. They're not blaming anybody. COVID got them good. And Mitch, who was running the Warehouse Grill, has taken a job with, he's an old, as he put it, I'm an old farm boy. He's got a CDL, he's driving. He just wanted something new. Connie is still running the Mezzanotte right up until the day they're closed on the building. So that is what I would like to present to the board today as a way to help them move forward.
I don't know how many people are on the board when we initially approved that.
Probably you, And maybe Marcus.
I thought at that time it was an ambitious, loan proposal. They made it work as well as I think if, we hadn't had the pandemic, they might be going along still doing it, but, they've been spot on with everything they said they were gonna do, and, I'd entertain a motion to approve, helping them with this, request.
Do you think you'll be able to get that $20,000 payment upon closing of the building?
They have to give us something.
Okay.
And unfortunately, Pursuit is being very aggressive with what they're asking for. We're trying, I was trying to balance how can we just reduce our exposure without, because they may end up going into their retirement plans to pay off Pursuit. Which,
So my question is, if they come back to you and say, hey, Kevin, we can only give you 10, is that you're not gonna, you won't accept?
I will accept anything, but it's your decision as a board member, not mine. So if you would give me the permission to accept anything over 10 with the request being 20, I would gladly request the 20, and if they come back and blow.
Well, we wouldn't have to get us back together again to make a decision,
Yes.
then I think the flexibility should be with you.
Yeah.
I think 10 is a fair number, and if we get more than that, be gravy.
Okay,
Is that a motion?
I'll make a motion on that.
thank you.
Do we have a second? I guess, I will second. All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Reluctantly, aye.
The last page is a letter from Layla Kusick. You may remember, we funded her last year. She started the Boozy Move through her outdoor yard space, game area, bar down in Albany called The Yard. So during COVID, her husband worked with infusing liquor into different ice creams for flavor profiles. I believe when I presented the loan, there was talk of her someday splitting The Yard from Boozy Moo. What she has determined over the last summer is she's so busy with the new commercial kitchen. She's got 15 commercial clients now, and she's got people requesting to get on her list for wholesale. And she noticed a significant drop in revenues in The Yard because she's focusing so much on something else. So her husband works for NAI Platform with Dan O'Brien personally on his residential side. So they will be representing The Yard in a sale. I wanted to make the board aware of that. What Layla has suggested is if it sells, she would be willing to make a large principal payment, provide us all the financials of Boozy Moo so that we can see how strong it is on its own. We would still keep the collateral we have. So I just wanted to make you all aware because it's probably gonna hit the papers. And as Kevin and I talk about, nobody likes surprises, so I just wanted to make everybody aware that she is putting it up for sale. Once she has a contract, she'll come back to us with, here's my numbers. I broke out the two different businesses. Boozy Moo now is its own entity. We'll modify the loan documents to recognize that, and then we'll discuss what a principal payment would be on the loan. The loan started out at $180,000. It's only been a few months, so probably down into the 175 range.
There's no action required from us now.
No action, but just wanted to make everybody aware that it's going to be in the paper. Two other things came up in the last day. So I apologize for not having everything in place for the board. One is we approved the down tube a month ago, or at the last meeting. As we were working through the closing with John Hartzell, we found out that the mother has two pieces of collateral. One was her residence and one was her former practice building that she's renting out to the new veterinarians that have taken over. In looking at taking the mother's home as collateral, we found it was in a trust, which makes it nearly impossible for us to really effectually take it as collateral. The mother has the other building, which is the former practice, which is at 529 Main Street. I looked through all the internet numbers. The Zillow numbers are approximately the same as for the personal residence. What I would ask the board today is, can we switch the collateral from the personal residence to 529 Main Street in Oneonta, which is not in the trust. The loan, as a reminder, is $125,000. They estimate this building to be worth approximately $350,000. So there's certainly an abundance of collateral. The mother was happy to pledge that building instead of her personal residence. And again, it doesn't have anything to do with her personally not wanting to provide her personal residence. It's in a trust, and it makes it very difficult to do so.
There is no requirement that our collateral has to be in the county, right?
Has to be.
It has to be in Albany County.
No, just the operating good business.
Okay.
So if, I don't-
That's a second down tube in Oneonta, or the original one?
No, it was the down tube on Madison Avenue. They're gonna look for a new location in Albany to reopen.
The second,
She's gonna be an obligor on the debt, and this property in Otsego County would secure her obligations on the debt.
the second property though, I'm sorry, I'm not clear on what is that second?
Oh, it's a veterinary clinic. Her mother used to be a veterinarian, and she's leased out the building and has other doctors in there now. Sorry about that, Susan, I didn't
No,
understand.
thank you.
For clarification, it's not actually the second down tube. It's in concept only continuation of the down tube. It's a new owner, but it's a continuation with the permission to use the down tube into a new venture.
And then something that just came up this week, as John and I were working on a closing, we approved Faith Creative Names last year. Worked with them for the last year plus on scheduling closing. One of the issues we had was the seller was waiting for a 1031 exchange. So that came while I was away last week. We got notice that, all right, he's got a building that he wants to buy. We need to rush to close. Fine, rush to close. When I had written up the report, I had put first UCC lien. She had debt on the business leading back to 2019. I would like to remove the first UCC filing and just put a UCC filing on the all business assets, so as the debt gets paid down, we get closer to the being in first position. But keep in mind, we have the building as collateral. We're lending $135,000. The purchase price was $150. The appraisal came in at $155. She worked with Elliott to have a lot of the roof replaced, the bricks repointed. So we went through the whole property condition. She worked on a lot of that stuff with Elliott. So what I'd like to ask is that we just take a UCC filing on all business assets, not a first UCC filing on all business assets.
Is there any other debt with anybody else?
She had an old line of credit that was turned out with,
Is this the company that makes the uniforms?
Yeah.
Okay.
There was an old line of credit with Broadview dating back to 1819, and then took out another line. So that one's turned out and now has a line with Pioneer for receivables, for inventory, to be able to buy inventory at the school season. So nothing excessive. I did meet with them and said, just so you know, the loan documents you're going to sign at the end of the week say you cannot take on additional debt without our permission. So just know that we're going to focus on growing your business. They added 5 new accounts this year, small, but should grow into bigger accounts as the schools grow out. There's been some shifting in the charter schools in the area, adding high schools, adding different grades, and she's tuned into all that. What she talked about yesterday when I met with her again was actually she has schools calling other schools, asking who they use for uniforms, and they're referring them to her. So
So the operating business is doing well.
It's doing well. Last 2 years, 22 and 23 were almost exactly even. Don't have year-to-date. One of the things I talked to her about yesterday again was quarterly financials by the end of the next month. Because she seems to want to do it, but as a business owner that's very busy, she struggles getting it done. And I told her that that was going to be a requirement for the first 2 years. I spoke on behalf of the board. I hope you don't mind, but I thought that was a way to force her into doing the right thing of having quarterly financials so she knows where she stands on a at least quarterly basis. But she's very excited to own the building. Elliot Rosen, who is the seller, is thrilled that he's got a new building in mind for his 1031 exchange. And so that would be a change I was impressed with the board today.
So do we have to do one motion for both those modifications?
I think just John,
You can put them in one.
one motion to
The modifications is stated.
as stated, yes.
I'll move that.
I'll second.
Actually, excuse me, no, I will not. Because I don't want to be able to do it too.
I'll move.
Why don't you split them?
No,
Yeah, split them, so if you have a recusal, you might better split the modifications, yeah. Go
Okay.
ahead and split them. Take the down two or
so is there
orange.
a motion to approve the modification change to the down to?
Yes, we have a motion to approve the down to. Second.
And you're going to recuse yourself?
Yeah, I was just saying.
Yep.
Alan.
We have a second to.
Second.
Second. All right, motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? And then we need a motion.
One
for
recusal.
the,
Just for the record, one recusal for the down two.
Gotcha. And then we need a motion for the uniform company.
Yes. Faith grade.
Yep, do we have a motion for that modification? For a second?
Come on, Diana. You know it's a uniform store.
Yeah.
You like
Yeah.
that.
You like it. We have a motion and second, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay.
And just again, I do apologize to the board for these last 2 minute things. They literally, I got an email from Becky last night at 4 o'clock. So I stayed and put this all together.
Yes, you did.
And I met with Faith Creative Names again yesterday, just to talk about the closing that's coming up. So I do apologize. Let's assume it's not the typical movie out there.
Well, this is what happens when you at concerts. Whole week.
It was great, Marcus. Marcus is referring to the fact that I went to London for a week and I saw David Gilmour at the Royal Albert Hall 2 nights. And if you're a Pink Floyd fan,
That's,
he is the man.
that was good. I went to London 10 years ago to see Kate Bush in concert. Most people say, ooh,
No, run up that hill.
yeah, and they sold out in 15 minutes, 18 shows, I think.
It was actually easier for me to get tickets to the Royal Albert Hall than it was to Madison Square Garden.
There you go. It's a good excuse to go to London.
Thank you, Ticketmaster.
Any other loan stuff coming up down the pipeline, or is there?
There are 2 absolutely spectacular opportunities that are in the pipeline. I met with one of the companies yesterday, and I've been meeting with the other company for about 2.5 years. Yep, these will be very, very focal projects that happen in the county, and it is great that we will be part of that. So both will be for $1 million, and we should have at least one next month, if not both next month, one each month. for the
We'll
next
find
month.
out when they come in.
Yes, sir.
That's perfect.
Yeah.
And these are 2025 closings?
Actually, the one may be at 2024 closing. That's why when Amy discussed putting $2.5 million in, but we do have plenty of funds. But it's working capital, so they would.
Sure.
But I think you'll all be very pleased that the next ones. These are big.
Okay. CEO report.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good morning, everybody. Just a brief update on some of the major initiatives that the county has going on the economic development front that we're working on anyway. First being the College of St. Rose, you may have heard, although you may not have since it wasn't reported in the media, the College of St. Rose filed for bankruptcy last Thursday at noon. In Chapter 11, which is our attorneys will tell you is for reorganization, but in the case of the College of St. Rose, it's not for reorganization. It is the first step in it's just a kind of mechanism for them to close the college down. As you know, the county executive and the chairman of the county legislature were supportive of the creation of the Albany County Pine Hills Land Authority, which is a state public authority which has the capacity to issue up to $80 million in debt for the purpose of the orderly, to acquire the campus of the College of St. Rose and to ensure for the orderly disposition of that property according to a plan that is to be developed with a good degree of community input and so on. The new authority is up and running, and this, I think, kind of accelerates the timeframe. There's going to have to be some involvement of the county legislature on this front. That'll be going ahead. I believe, it's hard to tell, but I believe the authority is in a good place for three reasons. One, because they have certainty of funds. They've got $80 million in bonding capacity secured by the county's yearly appropriation. It's referred to as appropriation debt. And as you also may know, the county of Albany has got an extremely high credit rating, fiscal prudence with which the county's been financially managed. And secondly, we can act quickly. It would take us roughly 60 to 90 days to issue the debt. And when I say we, I mean the authority is, the Alliance staffs the authority as well. And, that would be a tax exempt financing. And, again, so we've got certainty of funds, we can move quickly. And the last and perhaps the most compelling argument for us, for the new authority, is that they are interested in buying the entire campus. That kind of takes a lot of the angst out of the bankruptcy process and the, dissolving, selling of properties one by one, and the uncertainty of the uses of those properties. Nothing really solid to report yet, but that is moving along. Second big initiative that the Alliance has been going to be involved in is the demolition of the central warehouse, the cold storage warehouse in downtown. That's been a blight to our skyline for forever. The county legislature put up $3 million, I believe, in ARPA funds. And the state of New York came in with $10 million from their Restore New York program for a total of $13 million, which we expect to be sufficient to take the building down. A good portion of the cost of that demolition is going to be the asbestos remediation in the building, and then the disposition of the construction and demolition debris. So we're going to be the Alliance is going to be issuing an RFP. We've got according to state law, we've got to bid this out, $13 million demolition. And, we'll be bidding it out for a construction manager and a demolition firm.
Can you do it like Tropicana style? I was in Vegas for the conference when they blew up Tropicana. Had
Unfortunately.
Fireworks, all that.
Although that we might be able to do, but.
Only Columbia Development can do that with the Temple Center?
No. This is a very challenging demolition project. First of all, this is as you know, a cold storage warehouse. It was an old ammonia-based storage facility, not used much anymore. All the ammonia is out of there. That's not an issue. But what is an issue is all of Amtrak's travel for western and northern routes goes immediately adjacent to the building. I mean,
Yeah.
you could almost reach out, if the train window's open, you could almost reach out and touch the cold storage warehouse as the train went by. So, it is, the thing that I will be laying awake at night, thinking about, Alliance shuts down West Virginia, right? Because of the demolition project, but, so what they do is instead of doing an implosion demolition, which I've been learning about, they literally, take the building down from the top with these huge cranes, and they just rip pieces off, move it aside, rip pieces off, and they kind of pick it apart.
If it was easy, it would have been done years ago.
Yeah.
Right. And again, the walls of this building are very thick for the insulated properties, of course.
How long does it take, Kevin?
We don't know yet. We'll find out when we get the response to the RP, but some of the estimates are 6 months if there are no issues with the asbestos and remediation. So there's, I think, we'll have a better sense of the response to the RPs, which we're hoping for. Dylan Turek, sitting in the back there, is the Alliance staff working on the project, and, that's gonna be a big one. We'll, and then ultimately we have to figure out, the Alliance will own the property, upon demolition, or perhaps even before then. And then we have to figure out what to do with that. We've got, as you all have heard, probably, there's a group that's looking to do, some water-related tourism, and the cold storage warehouse is immediately adjacent to the historic Lock 1 of the Erie Canal, which is still there, it's just buried. And the thought that some of these folks, BJ Costello and Len Tantillo, have been living this, would be to excavate that, and it's a very, kind of interesting piece of construction that might attract tourism and, some related things. So, those are some of the major initiatives that were going on. The last thing, and probably the most closely related to the work that the Albany County Business Development Corporation Board is involved in, is the surprising increase in new business incorporation numbers. Albany County new business corporations are up 37% from 2018 till now. I mean, it is, we believe, we're still checking this out, it is the highest increase in new business startups in the entire state. Our surrounding counties are in the 2, 4, 8% increase. Albany County's 37%. Now, whether anything that the Altech Loan Fund has been doing has contributed to that, who knows? It's hard to tell. Every time somebody buys a piece of property, they probably create an LLC to hold it. Or, all of these people that dropped out of the workforce during the pandemic to do their, to make cat mittens from their knitting business, might have contributed. But the thing that's interesting, if that was the case, why Albany County is so much higher than the surrounding counties, including Saratoga, which is, of course, increasing in population. So, and if it was going down, well, we'd all take the blame for that. So we might as well take some of the credit for it.
Do we know industries?
I'm sorry?
Do we know industries?
No, we don't. We have no insight into what it is. I think the thing that, and there may be some reason for it, but the highest numbers in the state is the one that's, higher than New York City, higher than Long Island, Westchester. It's an interesting thing that we're gonna look into. One of the things that you all know, this whole economic development initiative was recommended by a study the county executive had done by Camoin Associates. That study is over 5 years old, And we're going to be doing a refresh of our strategy. I understand that county exec's office has talked to the legislature about this. And so, maybe we'll dive into some of this in a little bit deeper granularity and just make sure that our strategy is still, on point of where the economy is going. If there's any new things we should be looking at, or things that we're presently doing that we shouldn't do anymore or doing differently. But we'll be sending out an RFP for that. Whether we, Camoin Associates based up in Saratoga did the first study, it was great. Whether they're the ones to do the refresh, we'll have to see, but we'll bid it out and, we'll all keep you apprised. I'm sure you'll be involved in the strategy as we go forward, but, there's a lot going on and, so.
What's the time frame on that 37% increase?
Well, the period that we looked at was from 2018, because we want to go back pre-pandemic to now. You would thought it would have almost dropped. But even from, these numbers are as of 2023, by the way. The 24 numbers aren't out yet, but between 23 and 24, it went from 6,600 new incorporations to 8,800, almost a 25% increase year over year. I don't know how to explain that. We do see a very robust economy in the county. I mean, there's a lot of activity.
Yeah.
And like I said, if it was going the other way, you would all be blamed for it, or particularly the elected officials anyway.
But the 37% is from 2018 to 2023.
2023, right?
Great, thank you.
So that concludes my report, Mr. Chairman.
Okay.
Any questions? I'd be happy to answer. That's it.
Well, there was a nice article in the Ultimate Enterprise about this, which Kevin is a little shy to talk about, but a very nice article if you have a chance about the increase. It's in the Ultimate Enterprise, which has online.
That worldwide.
If you're,
Is that the Bethlehem version or the Colony
if
version?
you're an elected official and you're one,
Yeah, no,
as I was, it's.
That's a big deal.
Yeah.
And years ago, I'll take 1 second, they had the blotters and dockets, and I, as soon as my children were old enough, I showed them that, I said, your name will never, ever be in that section, because that's,
Yeah, that's funny. None of the papers do that.
well, they stopped it a few years, but the best part was the next week, my barber was in there. Dad, isn't that our barber?
That was a big thing in New York growing up. That was a big thing in the papers. There were a lot of who did what.
Who did what? Who got caught?
Colony has that, we have a Limeville paper,
Yeah.
they do that.
Oh,
The spotlight.
Arrests,
Oh, yeah.
Is that the spotlight?
spotlight, yeah.
We have
Usually
an
after 11,
executive-
5, it gets populated.
we have an executive session, is that just a placeholder or?
Place.
Okay. Anybody else have any issues or items for the meeting? If I don't hear any, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. Is there a second? All
Second.
in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All right, thanks, everybody.
Thank you all.
Great day, folks.
Thank you.